What happens when the power goes out and your fridge quits? Your food spoils fast. We rely on the grid for everything. But a young Amish farmer shows us a different path. He can keep his milk and meat fresh day after day, year after year. He knows a secret to beating blackouts and keeping food safe, something passed down for generations. That secret isn't some lost piece of ancient technology. It's a way of thinking, a completely different approach to something we just take for granted, keeping our food from going bad. When our power goes out, the clock starts ticking. A few hours and you start to worry. A day and you're throwing hundreds of dollars of groceries in the trash. For most of us, it's a small disaster. But for many Amish communities, a blackout isn't a disaster at all. It's just a Tuesday. That difference comes from a mindset shaped by generations of self-reliance. Instead of depending on a single machine to keep food fresh, Amish families often spread that responsibility across multiple methods. If one approach fails, another takes over. The result is a system built around resilience rather than convenience. While modern households often assume electricity will always be available, these communities have quietly preserved techniques that continue working regardless of outages, storms, or disruptions. They've spent generations perfecting ways to live without relying on the grid. And it's not just one simple trick. They use a whole system of clever tools. Some use modern gas or solar-powered units. Others rely on classic methods passed down for centuries, like ice houses, cool springhouses, and underground root cellars. And then there's canning. So much canning. They've built a food system based on skill, not just a plug in the wall. A system that doesn't just survive power failures, it doesn't even notice them. So how do these old-school marvels actually work? Let's find out. So you walk into a modern Amish kitchen, and you'll likely see a refrigerator that looks completely normal. It's white, has a freezer on top, and shelves full of food inside. But when you look behind it, there's no plug, no cord running to the wall. So how is it running? The secret is a tiny, silent flame. Many Amish refrigerators run on propane or natural gas. They use a technology called absorption refrigeration, which sounds complex, but the core idea is brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of using an electric compressor to cool things down, it uses heat. A small flame heats a mixture of chemicals in a closed system of pipes. As this mixture boils and circulates, it pulls heat out of the insulated box, leaving the inside cold. Think about that for a second. They're literally using fire to make ice. It's a perfect example of thinking differently about a problem we all face. What makes it even more fascinating is how invisible the whole process feels. There's no humming motor, no sudden clicking compressor, no dependence on a power outlet. Just quiet heat doing steady work in the background. To most modern households, refrigeration means electricity. But here the same result comes from chemistry, pressure, and patience. It's not about rejecting comfort. It's about choosing a version of comfort that can keep working when the grid cannot. And this isn't some strange experimental tech. If you've ever been in an RV or a camper, the fridge probably worked the exact same way. It's a reliable, off-grid solution that lets a family keep milk from spoiling and meat from going bad, all without ever having to rely on a power company. It's modern convenience, completely on their own terms. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. Not every home uses a gas-powered unit. Some rely on a system that feels like it's straight out of the 19th century, but is just as effective. Imagine a family in rural Ohio. During the coldest part of winter, they head out to a frozen pond and use saws to cut out massive blocks of ice, some weighing hundreds of pounds. They haul these blocks back to the house and pack them into a heavily insulated room in the basement, an ice house. A simple vent connects this ice-filled room to a wooden cabinet in the kitchen upstairs. The cold air naturally flows up, creating a silent, constant circulation that turns that cabinet into a refrigerator. Managed correctly, the ice they harvest in January will last them all the way through the summer heat, well into the next year. It's a system powered by the seasons themselves, a true blend of old-world skill and clever design. But the ice house is just one way of turning winter's chill into a year-round resource. An even older, more elegant solution doesn't rely on ice at all. It relies on water. It's called a springhouse. Imagine a small stone or wooden building, maybe no bigger than a garden shed, built directly over a natural spring. Inside, cool, clean water constantly flows through a channel in the floor. Because this water comes from deep underground, it stays at a steady, cool temperature all year long, no matter how hot the summer gets. This constant flow of cool water turns the entire building into a natural refrigerator. The air inside stays crisp and cold, perfect for storing things that spoil easily like milk, butter, and cheese. It's a system with zero moving parts that uses no fuel and will never break down. It's powered by the Earth itself. But for keeping things truly frozen, they mastered the ice house. We know they cut massive blocks of ice from frozen ponds. But how do you make that ice last through a blistering August? The secret is insulation. After hauling the blocks into a cellar or a dedicated shed, they pack every inch of space around them with a thick layer of sawdust or straw. This simple, natural material is incredibly effective at trapping the cold. One Amish woman in Ohio said the ice her family harvests in January is still there a full 12 months later. Sometimes it even lasts longer than that. Think about that. They harvest the cold once a year, and it provides refrigeration for the entire family, all year long. The springhouse gives them cool storage, and the ice house gives them deep cold. They aren't just getting by without power, they've created a complete cold chain system, using nothing but cleverness and what nature already provides. But keeping food frozen solid is only half the battle. What about the things you harvest that you don't want frozen? All those potatoes, carrots, and apples. How do you keep them crisp and fresh from the fall harvest all the way through a long, hard winter? For that, you have to go underground. This is the simple genius of the root cellar. It's often nothing more than a small, dark room dug into the earth, either in a basement or built straight into the side of a hill. The secret isn't any kind of fancy technology, it's the ground itself. Once you dig a few feet down, the temperature of the earth stays incredibly stable. It doesn't care if there's a blizzard raging above or a heat wave in July. Below the frost line, the ground stays at a constant cool temperature all year round. We're talking just above freezing, the perfect sweet spot for preservation. But it's not just the temperature. The surrounding soil also keeps the air inside the cellar naturally humid. This cool, damp environment is exactly what keeps root vegetables from shriveling up and fruits from going soft. It's nature's perfect crisper drawer. You can walk into an Amish root cellar in the middle of January and find it stacked to the ceiling. Bins of potatoes, baskets of onions, barrels of apples that are still crunchy months after they were picked. It's also the perfect place to store hundreds of jars of canned goods, all the meat, peaches, and green beans they put up over the summer. Everything the family needs to eat well for an entire year is right there. This isn't just a clever storage trick, it's the final piece of the food puzzle. It's how a family can live entirely off their own land, from one harvest to the next. They aren't just storing vegetables, they're storing the work of an entire season, powered by nothing more than the earth beneath their feet. But what happens when you want to save something that can't just be stored in a cool, dark room? How do you preserve the taste of a perfectly ripe summer peach all the way into the dead of winter? This is where the Amish truly build their fortress of food, and it all happens inside a simple glass jar. Canning is the absolute bedrock of Amish food security. It's a painstaking process, but the idea is simple. Using incredibly high heat from either a boiling water bath or a pressure canner, they sterilize everything. The heat kills any bacteria that could cause spoilage and forces all the air out of the jar. When it cools, the lid gets sucked down, creating a perfect vacuum seal. That's it. No chemicals, no preservatives. That food is now completely shelf-stable, safe to eat for a year or even longer with zero refrigeration needed. The sheer scale of this operation is hard to comprehend. It's not uncommon to walk into an Amish pantry and see shelves literally straining under the weight of hundreds of jars. Everything you can imagine is in there. Rows and rows of green beans, corn, and tomatoes picked at their peak. Jars of vibrant peaches and applesauce. Even entire meals like beef stew and chicken are canned and ready to go. One visitor described seeing enough canned food to feed an entire family for a full year, all lined up on the shelves. This isn't a hobby, it's the final step in a year-long plan. Many families work their land, sometimes 40 acres or more, with the express purpose of filling those jars. It's how they turn the fleeting abundance of a summer harvest into a solid, reliable food supply that will carry them through the leanest months. This system creates such an abundance that it becomes part of the culture itself. It's a symbol not just of security, but of generosity. An Amish host will often send a guest home with a jar of their best canned peaches, a simple gift that represents an entire season of hard work and foresight. The Amish aren't just living a different kind of life, they're showing us a blueprint for true food security. They keep their milk and meat fresh with special gas or solar fridges, then add ingenious springhouses and ice houses to their system. Root cellars store tons of produce, no electricity needed, and their mastery of canning fills countless shelves with meals, ready for any season or crisis. It's a complete, unbroken chain of preservation, built on cleverness and hard work, not power lines. While our modern fridges fail during blackouts, their food stays safe, day after day, year after year. This incredible independence from an unstable grid makes you really stop and think. And perhaps that's the most surprising lesson of all. None of these methods are secret. None require expensive technology or specialized training. They simply demand planning, patience, and a willingness to work with nature instead of constantly trying to overpower it. The Amish approach reminds us that resilience is often built long before an emergency happens. Their food stays secure not because they react better to problems, but because they have designed their entire system to avoid those problems in the first place. In a world increasingly dependent on complex supply chains and uninterrupted electricity, that kind of preparation feels more valuable than ever. We rely so much on a system that feels more fragile than ever. What if true food security isn't about the newest tech, but about rediscovering timeless skills? What practical lessons can we learn from a community that never has to worry about a power outage ruining their food supply? If you're ready to uncover more overlooked wisdom and see how simple traditional methods can make all the difference in an unpredictable world, then hit that subscribe button. Join us as we keep exploring the secrets to lasting self-reliance.